Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk Colin Pitchfork, shall we? Remember him? Just that name, it makes me feel sick. He's, of course, the guy that killed 2 children. We're focusing, though, tonight, not on him, really, but on the premise of parole, because he actually wanted his parole hearing to be held essentially behind closed doors. It was ruled instead that in the interest of justice, essentially, this was going to be a more public hearing. I say good to that. What do you say, though, Zoe?
I'm just not sure what the benefit of a public hearing is, apart from having people who are very, very angry and upset, getting very, very angry and upset about this. I mean, this is an incredibly horrific case of the murder of 2 women, 2 girls.
2 15-year-olds.
Yeah, 2 girls. I mean, it's just absolutely appalling. And I know there'll be a lot of hurt in the community, a lot of people who want to see this man behind bars for good. But I just don't know what benefit it provides for the justice system, for the families involved to have the parole hearing.
But then do you feel like that? Because I quite like open justice. So, like, now you've got your cameras in the courts, you've got all of these things. So do you apply your sentiment to more the justice system more broadly? So would you say, for example, we shouldn't have cameras in courts, etc.?
It's a difficult one, because I think there are some issues in this country because we have such a closed system. Sometimes the reporting of cases aren't we don't get all the details. We'll get what the media is reporting on that day, and I think sometimes that can lead to, especially in the age of social media, it can lead to misinformation. It can lead to online internet sleuths trying to fill in the gaps. And that can often re-traumatise families. That can make things worse. That can spread misinformation. But then I also do think that the families of those impacted do deserve privacy, and also people who are on trial do deserve a fair trial, and sometimes the media can compromise that.
Well, what about letting the victims decide then? You could maybe go to the victims and say, right, what do you want? You get the final say. Do you want a public hearing or a private hearing? I don't know, maybe that's a compromise there. Matt, where are you on it?
Well, I think there's something about trying to increase public trust in the legal system. There's something about, it's a bit like the royal family, isn't it? You've got to see it to believe it. And I think there's something about allowing people into the heart of the legal judicial system that sort of appeals to me. I think secondly, just thinking about the people that, as Zoe said, you're going to get emotional people and so on. But there is something as well here about helping people go through the process of forgiveness, acceptance, reconciliation. And is there something in this that's actually going to allow people to go further on that journey, by watching the proceedings, by being close to the proceedings, by seeing the perpetrators, by seeing the justice system in action? And I imagine, if I was caught up in one of these cases, I'd want to be, as close as possible to it, whether I was a neighbour, whether I was a friend, relative, whatever.
The only part of me that questions my own thought process, because I do believe in open justice, I want kind of... I feel like I'm a little bit almost medieval sometimes, because I am really harsh when it comes to punishment. I really do. I think if you really punish people, don't get me, I'll get kicked off national television if I told you what I really thought. But I'm really harsh on punishment, and I think that we need to be harsher on criminals. But the only part of me that kind of stops myself sometimes, I think you don't want to inspire other wrong-uns. If you've got the wrong kind of people following these trials, gripped to every twist and turn of what people did, are you actually then going to inspire someone actually that is pretty bad, but maybe not as bad as that, and then they sit there and think, oh, actually, yeah, I didn't think of that. I could possibly add that to my plan or that to my plan. So that stops me in my tracks sometimes, Matt.
A sort of copycat criminals.
Yes.
Maybe. But by the way, your views on longer sentences, tougher sentences, don't make you unique. About 70 to 80% of Brits and
no, I'm not just about longer sentences. I would at least go to a referendum about things like capital punishment in situations where there was absolutely no doubt whatsoever. Like those people, for example, that hacked Lee Rigby to death. What are you doing in prison?
Just briefly on that.
I would say, be gone.
Overall, you look at the data on this. Since the 80s, support on capital punishment has been coming down to about 40-45%.
You're trying to say I'm out of touch?
No, I'm not. But when it comes to murderers of children, murderers of police officers, support is much higher. People are outraged by some of those incidents.